What you're about to see is one of the most emotional and jaw-dropping moments ever captured in a courtroom, and it involves the legendary Judge Frank Caprio. Brace yourself. This story will hit you right in the heart. An 84-year-old homeless veteran named Robert Bobby Martinez walks into court for stealing a loaf of bread. On the surface, it looks like just another minor shoplifting case. But what Judge Caprio discovers next will completely stop him in his tracks, and the internet exploded. Seriously, this video has over 50 million views, and news outlets around the world couldn't believe it. For 20 years, Bobby had been carrying something extraordinary in his old, beat-up shopping cart. And when Judge Caprio sees it, he makes a decision so unprecedented, it changed courtroom history forever. The compassion and humanity on display here is unlike anything you've ever seen. Before I reveal the most viral courtroom moment ever recorded, here's a quick reality check. Less than 3% of you watching are subscribed. Judge Caprio's story of empathy deserves to reach everyone, so hit that subscribe button now. And comment below where you're watching from. New York, London, Tokyo, Brazil? Let's show how far this story of kindness can travel. It's a chilly November morning at Providence Municipal Court. Judge Caprio is seated behind his bench, unaware that he's about to witness something heartbreaking, and yet profoundly inspiring. The courtroom is buzzing with families, defendants, staff, and visitors from across the country, all hoping to see Judge Caprio's legendary fairness in action. At 10:15 a.m., the bailiff calls the final case of the morning, a seemingly routine shoplifting charge. Then comes Bobby. He moves slowly, leaning on a walking stick carved from driftwood. His clothes are layered and worn, patched countless times, boots held together with duct tape. But what really catches your eye is the cart behind him, a green tarp covering everything he owns in the world. And here's where it gets unbelievable. Inside that cart, Bobby has been hiding something for 2 decades, something so touching, so human, that grown men in the courtroom couldn't hold back their tears. When Judge Caprio sees it, he does something so rare, so extraordinary, that people around the world would talk about it for years. This isn't just a story about theft. It's about dignity, resilience, and the power of one person's compassion to restore faith in humanity. Trust me, what Bobby was carrying, and what Judge Caprio does next, will leave you speechless, emotional, and inspired. His aged body allows. Bobby steps forward, removing his worn cap, and looking Judge Caprio directly in the eyes. Robert Anthony Martinez, announces the court clerk, reading from the case file. Bobby grips his walking stick with one weathered hand, while the other rests protectively on his old shopping cart, as if guarding the most precious thing he owns. Judge Caprio looks up from his paperwork, his compassionate eyes scanning the man before him. Something about Bobby tells him immediately, this isn't just another shoplifting case. Mr. Martinez, you're charged with shoplifting, specifically taking a loaf of bread valued at $2.89 from Tony's Market. How do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor, Bobby says quietly, his voice carrying the weight of decades of hardship. I took the bread. I was hungry. I had no money. Judge Caprio sets down his pen, a gesture signaling he's about to go beyond legal formalities into something profoundly human. Mr. Martinez, can you tell me about your circumstances? Why were you unable to pay for the bread? Bobby glances at the packed courtroom, then back at the judge. Your Honor, I've been homeless for 6 years. I live on the streets, try to find work when I can, but at my age, it's not easy. Judge Caprio's expression softens. May I ask how old you are? 84, Your Honor. The words hang in the air. 84, the same age as the judge himself. 2 men, born the same year, living lives that could not be more different. One, respected and honored, sitting on the bench of justice. The other, hungry and homeless, standing before him as a defendant. We are indeed the same age, Mr. Martinez. Can I ask, did you serve our country? Bobby's frail posture changes instantly. Despite his age and hardship, he straightens with the bearing of a Marine. Yes, Your Honor. United States Marine Corps. Vietnam, 1968 to 1970. 3 tours. Pause for a moment and imagine the weight of that. An 84-year-old homeless Vietnam veteran, standing in court for stealing bread. the same age as the judge himself. If this hits you, hit that like button now, because this story is both heartbreaking and profoundly human. Judge Caprio does what he's known for. He stands and walks down from the bench, closing the distance between himself and the defendant. This is his signature gesture when he's deeply moved. Mr. Martinez. Bobby, you served 3 tours in Vietnam? Yes, Your Honor. I was 20 when I first shipped out to Da Nang. Thought I'd do 1 tour and come home, but they kept extending us. Before I knew it, 3 years. Throughout the conversation, Judge Caprio notices Bobby's hand never leaves the shopping cart. He grips it as if it's protecting something more valuable than gold. Bobby, I hope you don't mind me asking, what's in the cart? At that moment, Bobby's entire demeanor changes. His grip tightens. For the first time in the courtroom, genuine worry crosses his face. Your Honor, it's personal items. Nothing illegal. Nothing stolen. Just things. That means everything to me, Bobby whispers, his voice trembling. Judge Caprio leans forward, intuition honed by 3 decades of reading people's hearts, telling him this is no ordinary case. Bobby, he says gently, would you feel comfortable showing me what's in the cart? I'm not asking as a judge right now. I'm asking as a fellow human being who genuinely cares about your story. Bobby glances around the courtroom at the 50-plus people silently watching. His hands tremble slightly. You can see the battle inside him, the fear, the hesitation, and the weight of decades of memory. Your Honor, people might think I've lost my mind when they see this, he admits. They might think the war broke something in me. Judge Caprio's eyes soften. Bobby, I've been on this bench for 30 years. I've seen everything. And I've never once thought someone was broken for caring deeply about something. Please show us what matters to you. Bobby takes a long, shuddering breath, one that seems to come from the very depths of his soul. Slowly, with painstaking care, he pulls back the green tarp covering his shopping cart. What the courtroom sees next stops everyone cold. The cart is overflowing with hundreds of photographs, letters, military documents, dog tags, Purple Hearts, Bronze Star ribbons, and a meticulously preserved military journal wrapped in plastic. Every item is a piece of history, a fragment of memory, a tribute to those who never made it home. But the shock isn't just the sheer volume. It's the story behind it. As Bobby carefully lifts out a photograph, Judge Caprio's eyes widen in awe. Bobby, are these? He asks. Yes, Your Honor, Bobby says, his voice breaking. Every Marine from my 3 units who didn't make it home from Vietnam. I've been carrying their pictures, letters, and stories for over 50 years. The courtroom falls utterly silent. Bobby continues, photograph after photograph, each one a young face frozen in time, faces barely out of their teens, eyes filled with courage, fear, and hope. This is Lance Corporal Danny Reeves from Oklahoma, Bobby says, holding up a black and white photo. He was 19 when he died in the Tet Offensive. He used to show me pictures of his girlfriend, Sarah, and talk about the farm he was going to buy when he got home. Judge Caprio steps closer, drawn by the weight of history and human sacrifice. Bobby lifts more photos, more documents, each one a life cut tragically short, each one a family forever changed. This is Corporal Miguel Santos from New Mexico. He was going to be a teacher when the war ended. He died saving 4 wounded Marines during a mortar attack. His last words were, "Tell my mama I love her, and I'm proud to be her son." And this, Bobby continues, is Private First Class Kevin O'Brien from Boston. He was 18. He threw himself on a grenade to save our squad. Before he died, he handed me a letter for his parents and said, "Make sure they know I wasn't scared. Make sure they know I died thinking about Sunday dinners at home." As Bobby shares more photographs and stories, tears begin to flow throughout the courtroom. These aren't just old military photos. This is a living memorial, a testament maintained by a man who has refused to let his brothers in arms be forgotten, even at the cost of his own comfort, his own safety, his own life, their own well-being. Your Honor, Bobby says, voice shaking but steady. I know people see me as just a crazy old homeless veteran with a cart full of junk. But these boys, they deserve to be remembered. Their families deserve to know that someone still carries their memory, still honors their sacrifice. Judge Caprio's eyes well with tears as the weight of Bobby's 50-year commitment sinks in. "Bobby, how many Marine stories are you carrying?" he asked softly. 382, Your Honor. Every name, every face, every story I could remember or piece together. I have their final letters home, medals that never reached their families, personal effects lost in the chaos of war. I've been their guardian for half a century. But Bobby isn't finished. From the depths of his cart, he pulls out a thick, worn notebook, its edges frayed from decades of handling, wrapped in multiple layers of plastic to protect it from rain and weather. "This is their book, Your Honor," Bobby says. "Every story I could find, every detail about their lives, dreams, deaths, and families. I've been writing in it for 53 years, adding to it whenever I learn something new about one of my boys." Judge Caprio takes the notebook with hands that treat it like a sacred artifact. He begins to read, and his expression shifts: amazement, awe, reverence. "Bobby, this is extraordinary. The most comprehensive memorial to forgotten heroes I've ever seen. You've created a masterpiece of remembrance." Then he reads something that stops him completely. The moment that would make this story viral worldwide. "Bobby, it says here you've been tracking down the families of fallen Marines and returning their personal effects. How many families have you found over the years?" 216 families, Your Honor," Bobby replies. "Sometimes it takes years, sometimes decades. I travel however I can, hitchhiking, walking, taking buses when I have the money. I give them their son's last letter, his medal, a picture he carried of home. I tell them how brave their boy was, how much he was loved by his Marine brothers, how he died with honor." Judge Caprio realizes he is looking at a man who has spent 53 years serving others, honoring the dead, comforting the living, all while living in poverty and homelessness himself. "You've been homeless for 6 years, Bobby?" Caprio asks gently. "Yes, sir. Lost my apartment when my VA disability payments got messed up due to a computer error. I've been living on the street since then, but I keep the cart with me always. These boys need someone to watch over them, to make sure they're never forgotten." At this moment, it's impossible not to pause and feel the depth of Bobby's sacrifice. This is true heroism, a devotion that surpasses medals, rank, or recognition. If you're not subscribed yet, do it now. Stories like Bobby's remind us of the real meaning of courage, service, and humanity. And then, Judge Caprio does something that will be shared, reshared, and remembered for decades. He removes his judicial robe, walks to Bobby, and performs an act unprecedented in American jurisprudence. He kneels before the shopping cart, carefully examining each photograph, reading each story, treating this mobile memorial with the same reverence as a sacred war monument. The courtroom is silent. Families, visitors, staff, all watch as a legendary judge honors a forgotten hero in the most human, compassionate way imaginable. Then, with eyes still glistening, Judge Caprio addresses Bobby and the world, declaring. Judge Caprio's voice carries to every corner of the courtroom, filled with compassion and authority, yet trembling with emotion. "You are witnessing something extraordinary," he begins. "This man has dedicated his entire adult life to honoring fallen heroes, heroes forgotten by everyone except him." He rises, addressing not just the courtroom, but the millions of viewers who would soon watch this moment unfold. "Not only am I dismissing this shoplifting charge completely," he declares, "but I am doing something I have never done in 30 years on this bench. Robert Martinez, I am appointing you as an honorary guardian of military remembrance for this court and this community. Your service to the memory of our fallen Marines is the most noble and selfless act I have ever witnessed." The courtroom erupts in thunderous applause. Judge Caprio raises his hand for silence. "Furthermore, effective immediately, I am personally ensuring that Bobby has proper housing and every support he needs to continue his sacred mission. The state of Rhode Island, through this court, will provide him a permanent residence and all resources required to honor these heroes with the dignity they deserve." But the moment isn't over. In a move that defies courtroom convention, Judge Caprio picks up his personal phone and makes a call, right there in open court. "General Patterson, this is Judge Frank Caprio in Providence. I have someone here you absolutely must meet immediately. Someone who has been honoring our fallen Marines for 53 years, with no recognition, no support, only the gratitude of the families he's comforted. Can you be here within the hour? Within 40 minutes, representatives from the Rhode Island National Guard, the Veterans Affairs Office, the Providence Mayor's Office, and the Commanding General of the Regional Marine Corps Reserve are all in the courtroom, standing before Bobby, learning about his 5-decade mission of remembrance. And then comes the most powerful moment. Judge Caprio addresses Bobby, and everyone in the courtroom, watchers both present and online, cannot hold back their tears. Bobby, I want you to know this, and I want everyone watching to understand. You are not homeless anymore. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. And neither are your 382 Marine brothers. Today, right here, we honor all of you. The story didn't end in that courtroom. Within 6 hours of being posted online, Bobby's story had been viewed over 5 million times. By 24 hours, it had soared to 25 million. Major news outlets, from CNN to BBC and every corner of the globe, picked up the story. The Veterans Affairs Office immediately established the Robert Martinez Memorial Guard Fund, dedicated to helping homeless veterans and supporting private memorial efforts. Within the first month alone, donations from around the world exceeded $8 million. But the most remarkable part was the families. Within days, over 300 family members of the Marines Bobby had honored reached out, desperate to meet the man who had kept their loved ones' memories alive for half a century. Sarah Rise, now 73, was the girlfriend of Lance Corporal Danny Reeves from Oklahoma. She flew to Providence to meet Bobby. Through tears, she told reporters, "Danny has been gone 55 years, but Bobby made sure he wasn't forgotten. He told me things about Danny's last days I never knew. It's like getting a piece of my first love back." Even the Smithsonian Institution requested Bobby's notebook and photograph collection for permanent preservation, a testament to the enduring impact of one man's devotion, a reminder that true heroism is not measured by medals, but by the lives we touch and the memories we honor. Bobby's collection was soon requested for permanent display at the National Museum of American History. Both the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and the Marine Corps War Memorial invited him to participate in special ceremonies honoring the fallen. Bobby was given a beautiful 3-bedroom home where he could properly display and maintain his memorial collection. Each extra room became a shrine to the 382 Marines whose stories he had carried for decades, complete with display cases and proper lighting, generously donated by grateful Americans. But perhaps the most moving moment came when Bobby's story reached President Joe Biden. A father who understands loss and grief, the president personally invited Bobby to the White House, calling him a living national treasure, someone whose devotion to others embodies the very best of American values and the Marine Corps motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Bobby humbly told the president, "Mr. President, I never wanted recognition. I just wanted to make sure my boys weren't forgotten. Every Marine deserves to be remembered." This incredible case became Judge Frank Caprio's final act on the bench before retirement, a perfect capstone to a legendary career of compassion and justice. Caprio's family said Bobby's case represented everything their father believed in, that every person deserves dignity, that service to others is the highest calling, and that compassion can truly change the world. At Judge Caprio's retirement ceremony, Bobby Martinez was given a place of honor at the head table. He brought a special photograph, Judge Caprio kneeling before Bobby's memorial card, which he added to his collection. "Judge Caprio saved my life and honored my boys," Bobby told the crowd. Now he's part of the memorial too, because he showed the world what real justice looks like. Now, I want to ask you something that both Judge Caprio and Bobby would want you to consider. In the comments below, share a story about someone in your life who deserves recognition for quiet service to others. Who are the unsung heroes in your community? Who is making a difference every day without seeking thanks or recognition? Judge Caprio spent 30 years showing us that compassion is a choice we make every single day. Bobby Martinez spent 53 years proving that love, honor, and remembrance can survive any hardship, any challenge, any obstacle life throws at us. Drop your hero stories in the comments, because Judge Caprio's legacy lives on in every act of kindness, every moment of empathy, and every choice we make to see the humanity in others, especially those society has forgotten. If this story moved you, if Judge Caprio's compassion and Bobby's lifetime of service touched your heart, share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that heroes walk among us every single day. Like this video if you believe in honoring our veterans, supporting the homeless, treating every human being with dignity and respect, and never forgetting those who sacrificed everything for our freedom. Subscribe for more stories proving that Judge Caprio's legacy of compassion endures. And remember Judge Caprio's final words to Bobby and to all of us. Justice isn't just about following the law. It's about seeing the person behind the case and responding with your heart. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. And thank you for keeping both Judge Caprio's spirit of kindness and the memory of our fallen heroes alive in your hearts.